So I'm playing Elden Ring, right? Which is a masterpiece, like in any under any metric, right? Because I played like the Dark Souls trilogy, one, two, and three, and I thought they're all fine. People said two sucked, but I mean I agreed, but I still played it. And there's some about Dark Souls games that people actively seek those types of games, seek that difficulty. And again, it's not just difficulty for the sake of difficulty. Because anything can just be a difficult game, right? Like I play Total War Warhammer 3, and it's like, okay, what does putting it on the highest difficulty mean? Well, it means the enemy can raise a fucking army in or two turns. They only really need one settlement, and from that, they have three whole armies. Where it takes like you could have seven provinces and barely be able to keep a single army up. You know, they know where all your lands are, even the weakest. They run around you, they sack you. That the AI has absolutely no defense in mind. It knows it's the AI. You can just go around and fuck with you. And, well, in that case, people just leave certain campaigns because campaign fatigue is definitely a thing in Total War Warhammer. Right, and it's not just sucking, right? Because, I mean, I could lose battles, but still win the war. It's just people get sick and tired of the cheap fucking AI of Total War Warhammer. But with Elden Ring, right, you know, even if you suck, right, you have every single tool available, and it requires you to actually understand the boss itself. At least on the difficulty I'm playing on, like I've beaten the game like 6 times, and it gets harder each time, right? Like I refuse to just restart the game just to play the DLC. Like I'm playing on my seventh playthrough, so if I don't stack against any boss, I just die in 2 hits regardless. And it becomes a different game at that point because you can't just rivers of blood through everything. And that's the point I'm trying to get across is people actively seek the difficulty of From Software games. I mean, and there I don't much care. I'm not a big fan of the genre itself. Like I might play Lies of P. I'm definitely playing Black Myth Wukong. And then you got the Bloodborne Copium Huffers. Like that game's never coming out. Like there's never going to be a Bloodborne 2. Like you'll be lucky to get a graphical update of the existing game because of the contract PlayStation has. I heard that if they were to release it, they technically wouldn't make any money off of it. But and imagine my surprise when I look at the reviews of the DLC and it's mixed. And the reason it's mixed is because, oh, people say it's too hard. It's too hard. Look, I'd say Elden Ring is probably the easiest out of all the Souls likes because you have so many tools at your disposal, right? But it's definitely a difficult game if you don't really care to get better. Like if you don't care to specify, if you don't care to, you know, to stack against the bosses. I mean, I guess it's difficult per se, but it's not impossible. And even if it is difficult, so fucking what? You know? And I'm not even using the get good argument, right? Because the get good argument requires you not to really understand, like, you know, the issue. You know? And I guess the issue with most people is, well, at least with game journalists, is they just don't play games, right? And you know, they don't really care the mechanics. They don't care why people like DLC or like Elden Ring in the DLC. You know, they just want to slap a review on against a game that doesn't fit their, you know, current morality, and they'll just call it a day. But again, people who actually do play Elden Ring legitimately likes the DLC and they like the game. You know, above the people that, you know, just like Souls-like games, period. You have people like me who, you know, don't really care for the genre, but care a lot for Elden Ring and Dark Souls in particular because of the fact that you have limitless tools, right? You have limitless magic, you have limitless stacking. You know, there's always a way to beat a boss. You know, even outside of just dodging and bonking, you have tools at your disposal. But again, it's too hard. People like they don't care, and it's not even the get good argument. Look, you can even be trash at Elden Ring and still beat it, right? It's just it's just not a difficult game. But again, you know, the whole it's too hard. You know, Brigade just don't really much care for the game. It's like, sure, the reason the DLC is too hard is because the way they made it, right? You can either you could be only level 70. It doesn't matter if you're level 70 or level 700. You know, the progression goes by a completely different metric. So, and it's that way for a reason. So anybody can kind of have a fresh start in the DLC. But despite that, if you collect all the items that increase your negation and increase the strength of your summons, I mean, you're still just gonna be better off than people who do not. And it's the fact that the game just, again, it's also a game where you don't have to care about the story, but I do because it's an interesting story. Look, games aren't made, even in a game like this where you have to wrestle the fucking story out of FromSoft's hands, has a better story than most Western game developers out there. You know, you can tell that there's actual care put into this game above, you know, just trying to compete. And they see games like this trying to compete, right? And they downvote it. Like, I'm so glad Elden Ring won Game of the Year because if any other game would have, people would have been like, yeah, no. They've absolutely just bought that win. So, and I'm all for this game. Like, it is legitimately a good game. Like, I can't sing its praises highly enough. But anyway, I mean, I just did a non-sponsored praising of the game, and that's just about all I gotta say about this. Peace.